Ladies and gentlemen, we often talk about winning in life, big wins, grand achievements, the mountaintops of success. But what if I told you that real victory isn't found in those once-in-a-while moments? What if the key to a winning life is found in the everyday battles, those quiet decisions we make before the world even sees us? Winning every day doesn't mean you have to break world records or land million-dollar deals every morning. It means you take control of your day, you become intentional, focused, and disciplined. It's about mastering small wins that add up to a great life. Every great day starts before the sun rises, with purpose. Not just waking up, but waking up with a reason. It's easy to fall into a pattern of simply reacting to life, waking up because the alarm went off, checking your phone because it's a habit, rushing to work because you're late. But a winning day isn't built on reaction, it's built on intention. When you start with purpose, you remind yourself why you're doing what you do. Is it for your family, your health, your mission, your dreams? Your legacy? Purpose is like a GPS for your day. It keeps you from drifting into distraction and brings your attention back to what truly matters. It fuels your passion and gives meaning to the tasks ahead, even the hard ones. When you know your why, your how becomes stronger and your what becomes clear. Winning your day starts before breakfast. It begins with the inner decision to live with direction, not default. This can be a short morning ritual, a moment of silence, an affirmation, a written goal, or even just speaking out loud. Today, I choose to move with purpose. Some of the most successful people on earth have one thing in common. They are mission-minded. They don't stumble into productivity, they are anchored in vision. You don't need to have your whole life figured out, but if you wake up each day and connect with your deeper reason for showing up, then you've already won the first and most important battle of the day. Let purpose be your alarm clock. Let purpose be your fuel. Let purpose drive your decisions, shape your focus, and remind you that every day is another chance to build the life you were meant to live. If the morning is the foundation of the day, then how you start determines everything that follows. Think about it. Every day is like a race, and the first few steps matter. Champions don't stumble out of the blocks. They explode forward. Likewise, owning your morning is about launching yourself into the day with clarity, discipline, and power. When you wake up and immediately check social media, rush out the door, or drown in emails, you've already surrendered your control. The world has dictated your pace, but when you create a morning ritual, a sacred time where you nourish your body, align your thoughts, and activate your focus, you begin to command your day rather than chase it. Owning your morning isn't just about productivity. It's about protecting your mental space, your energy, and your values before the world pulls at them. Even 30 minutes of a structured routine can change everything. Imagine waking up hydrating, spending 5 minutes in silence or gratitude, moving your body, reviewing your goals, and setting your intention. You'll feel like a leader, not a follower, a creator, not a reactor. Some of the world's most successful people, CEO, athletes, creators attribute their momentum to how they spend their mornings. It's their anchor, their edge, their way of reminding themselves every single day, I am in charge of my life. You don't need 2 hours of complex routines. You need consistency. You need something that tells your brain and soul, I'm ready. Because when you win the morning, you're not just getting a head start. You're programming your day with power. You're moving from chaos to clarity, from fog to focus. One of the biggest reasons people feel overwhelmed, unproductive, or scattered is because they start their day with no clear target. They confuse motion with progress, being busy with being effective. But a winning day is not about doing everything. It's about doing the right things with precision. That's where your 3 non-negotiables come in. Every morning, or better yet, the night before. Identify 3 specific tasks that absolutely must get done by the end of the day. These aren't optional. These aren't if I have time. These are the core wins that define whether today was successful. They should be tied to your goals, your growth, and your responsibilities, not just urgent errands or other people's agendas. Think of these 3 non-negotiables as your daily commitments to your future self. Each one is a small contract between who you are now and who you're trying to become. And when you complete them, something powerful happens. You feel the rush of completion, the satisfaction of focus, the momentum of achievement, and they don't have to be massive, complicated tasks. It could be finish the pitch deck, go to the gym, or call mom and check in. The key is intentionality and consistency. Over time, these small victories stack up and form habits, and habits shape your identity. This practice does more than boost productivity. It creates clarity. Instead of getting pulled in 10 directions, you have a compass. You walk into the chaos of life with purpose already defined. You're no longer chasing the day, you're controlling it one intentional task at a time. 3 non-negotiables, 3 wins every day. That's how you stack small successes into unstoppable momentum. In today's world, attention is the most valuable currency you have, and yet most people give it away for free. Every notification, every unnecessary scroll, every unfiltered distraction chips away at your potential, not because you lack ability, but because you've surrendered your focus. If you want to win your day, you must become a guardian of your attention. Your focus is your force. It's what turns ideas into action and time into results. But the modern world is filled with digital noise, constant interruptions, and endless temptations designed to hijack your mind. You can't afford to let your attention wander aimlessly. When you guard your attention, you take control of your inner space. You stop living reactively. You stop being a slave to external stimulation. You begin to choose where your energy flows, and by doing that, you shape what grows. This might mean putting your phone on Do Not Disturb for the first few hours of the day. It could mean blocking time on your calendar for deep, uninterrupted work. It could mean saying no to meetings that don't serve your priorities, or limiting your exposure to negative people or media. Protecting your attention also means protecting your mental diet. What you consume shapes how you think. If your mind is constantly filled with chaos, drama, or distraction, it will reflect in your emotions, decisions, and energy levels. Successful people don't have more time than you. They just waste less of it on things that don't matter. They understand that where focus goes, momentum flows. 1 hour of deep, focused work is worth more than 10 hours of multitask busyness. You must treat your attention like a fortress. Not everything deserves access. Not everyone should have your ears. Not every input is worth your mental bandwidth. Guard it like your future depends on it, because it does. There's a silent battle that begins every morning between comfort and courage, between procrastination and action, and the side that wins often dictates the rest of your day. That's why one of the most powerful habits you can develop is to do one hard thing first. The hard thing isn't necessarily the longest task or the most complicated. It's the one you mentally resist. The thing that feels heavy, the one that requires energy, courage, or focus. It's the task you keep moving to the bottom of your to-do list. The email you don't want to write, the workout you want to skip, the call you're avoiding. But here's the truth: what you avoid owns you until you face it. When you tackle the hardest thing first, you take back power. You tell your brain, I'm in charge. You stop negotiating with your weakness and start operating from strength. The psychological momentum that follows is real. Your confidence rises, your energy builds. You've proven to yourself, before most people even begin their day, that you can push through resistance. This approach is often referred to as eating the frog, a concept made famous by productivity experts. The idea is simple: if you have to eat a frog, do it first thing in the morning. If you do, the rest of your day will feel easier in comparison. It sets the tone. It tells your subconscious that you're here to lead, not hide. Why does this matter so much? Because discipline is a muscle, and the more you use it, the stronger it gets. When you choose discomfort early, you strengthen your ability to face life head-on. You stop fearing the weight of the day because you've already lifted the heaviest part. You don't need to clear your whole list before noon. Just conquer that one meaningful mountain, and do it early. That's how you transform your relationship with challenge. That's how you flip fear into fuel. That's how you win, not just the morning, but the mindset game. One of the most powerful yet underrated ways to win your day is by lifting someone else. We often think of success as a solo pursuit, checking off tasks, climbing ladders, hitting personal goals. But the truth is, real fulfillment and inner strength grow when we pour light into others. Encouragement isn't about grand gestures or rehearsed speeches. It's about noticing someone's struggle, effort, or potential, and speaking life into it. A simple message, a thoughtful comment, a compliment that's real, a reminder that someone matters, is seen, and is not alone. Why does this matter for your own daily win? Because when you encourage someone else, something shifts inside you. You step out of self-centeredness. You open up your emotional energy. You create connection, and connection creates momentum. It reminds you that life isn't just about tasks, it's about people, impact, and legacy. Science backs this up too. Acts of kindness and encouragement release dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin, neurochemicals tied to happiness, confidence, and bonding. In other words, when you lift someone else's spirit, you boost your own clarity and emotional energy. Encouraging others also reinforces your own beliefs. When you tell someone you've got this, you start believing you do too. When you say keep going, you subconsciously affirm that you should as well. Encouragement, when genuine, becomes a two-way exchange of strength. And let's be real, this world is full of noise, comparison, and criticism. People are desperate for voices that build instead of break, that inspire instead of drain. Your words might be the only source of hope someone hears today. Your small act might be the spark that keeps them going. So don't wait for a special moment. Don't underestimate your voice. Encourage someone today intentionally, authentically, whether it's a team member, a family member, a friend, or even a stranger online. Be the reason someone believes in themselves a little more. Because when you help someone else rise, you don't just win the moment. You win a deeper sense of purpose, presence, and power. Energy is your most precious asset. Time matters, yes, but without energy, even the most well-planned hours are wasted. You can't think clearly, show up fully, or execute powerfully if you're constantly drained, depleted, or scattered. That's why one of the most vital ways to win every day is to protect your energy like your future depends on it, because it does. We often think of energy as purely physical, like sleep or food, but true energy is multidimensional. There's physical energy, yes, but there's also mental clarity, emotional strength, and spiritual alignment. And when one of those is leaking, your entire system suffers. Protecting your energy starts with knowing what feeds you and what drains you, who and what gives you life, who and what depletes it. Pay attention. That meeting that always leaves you stressed, that person whose calls feel like emotional black holes, that habit of doom, scrolling late at night, every single one of these either fuels your fire or slowly extinguishes it. Winners are not just hard workers, they're wise managers of their personal energy ecosystems. They make time to recharge, not just to rest. They design environments that support focus and calm. They create boundaries that preserve their inner strength. This isn't selfish, this is strategy. You can't pour into others if your cup is bone dry. And let's not forget, what you consume matters, the music you listen to, the conversations you entertain, the content you scroll through. Everything is either helping you rise or pulling you into distraction, doubt, or anxiety. Be intentional. Treat your energy like a sacred resource. Make space for recovery. whether that's solitude, nature, meditation, laughter, or even 10 minutes of stillness. Refuel on purpose, because energy is what turns your intentions into action. It's the fuel that takes vision and drives it into reality. There's no glory in burnout, no medal for exhaustion. Winning every day doesn't come from doing the most. It comes from doing the right things with the right energy, steady, strong, and protected. One of the most overlooked habits of high performers and fulfilled people is this: they don't just move forward, they measure. They track their wins, they take time to reflect on what went right. They celebrate progress, no matter how small, because here's the truth: what gets measured gets improved, and what gets celebrated gets repeated. In the hustle of daily life, it's easy to lose sight of how far you've come. Days blur together, efforts get buried under stress, and you start to believe the lie that you're not moving fast enough, not doing enough, not being enough. But when you track your wins, you fight back against that inner critic. You reclaim the narrative and remind yourself of your momentum. This doesn't mean writing a 5-page journal entry every night. It could be as simple as a daily note on your phone, a checklist with a smiley face, or a wins of the day section in your planner. Maybe you jot down, "I finished that project," or "I drank 2 L of water," or "I didn't give up today." These may seem small, but over time they paint a powerful picture. You're growing, and there's a psychological edge here too. Every time you write down a win, your brain releases dopamine, the chemical of reward and motivation. This creates a loop. Success creates motivation, which creates more success. Instead of chasing validation from outside, you begin fueling yourself from within. Tracking your wins also builds your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who's trying and start seeing yourself as someone who follows through. And that shift from effort to evidence is where real confidence is born. Confidence doesn't come from fake affirmations. It comes from proof. It comes from saying, "I did this," and having the receipts to back it up. This habit becomes even more powerful during difficult days. When you feel stuck, tired, or discouraged, you can look back at your win list and remind yourself, "I've done hard things. I've made progress. I'm further than I think." In a world that constantly tells you to move faster, tracking your wins tells you to pause, reflect, and own your growth. It's not about being perfect. It's about being aware, being present, being proud. Because the secret to a winning life isn't just in doing more, it's in recognizing how much you've already done and letting that fuel your next step forward. If you want to win every day, you must make learning a non-negotiable part of your lifestyle, not just formal education, not just courses or degrees, but real, intentional daily learning, feeding your mind, challenging your thinking, and staying curious about the world around you. Because when you stop learning, you stop evolving, and when you stop evolving, you quietly begin to fall behind, not just professionally, but personally, emotionally, and spiritually. Learning something new every day doesn't mean cramming hours of study. It means opening yourself to growth moments, reading 1 page of a book, listening to 5 minutes of a podcast, watching a powerful clip, asking a deeper question, reflecting on a mistake, observing how someone handles a situation with grace. Every day is a classroom if you choose to see it that way. In today's fast, moving world, knowledge isn't just power, it's leverage. It sharpens your edge. It keeps you relevant. But more importantly, learning keeps you engaged. It keeps your brain alive, agile, and creative. It reminds you that no matter your age, background, or status, you are a work in progress, and that's a beautiful thing. And here's the deeper truth. Daily learning isn't just about adding information. It's about shaping identity. Every idea you absorb, every insight you explore, it changes how you see yourself and the world. It opens new doors of possibility. It breaks you out of routine thinking and helps you adapt, grow, and innovate. Think of your mind like a muscle. If you don't use it, it weakens. If you stretch it, it grows. Winners make time for that stretch. Even if it's just 10 minutes a day, they choose to invest in their mindset. knowing that today's learning becomes tomorrow's advantage. This habit also builds humility. When you commit to learning daily, you acknowledge that you don't know it all, and that's strength, not weakness. It keeps your ego in check, your curiosity alive, and your passion burning. It turns everyday life into an adventure of discovery instead of a cycle of repetition. So don't let a single day pass without learning something, no matter how small, because knowledge compounds, insights build. And over time, those small moments of learning will separate the person who merely shows up from the one who leads, grows, and thrives in every area of life. As the day winds down and the noise begins to settle, there's one practice that quietly yet powerfully transforms everything that came before it: gratitude. To end with gratitude is to finish your day not in chaos, stress, or disappointment, but with clarity, peace, and perspective. It's the mental and emotional equivalent of turning out the lights gently rather than slamming the door on your day. Gratitude is not just a feel-good cliché, it is a proven mental shift, one that can rewire your thoughts, regulate your emotions, and reset your energy. When you pause to acknowledge what went right, what you learned, who helped you, and what you still have, you begin to see the day not through the lens of lack, but through the lens of abundance. Even on your hardest days, there is always something to be grateful for. A small breakthrough, a kind word, a lesson learned through struggle, the roof over your head, the fact that you made it through. Gratitude helps you zoom out from what went wrong and zoom in on what still matters. This practice isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about reminding yourself that progress exists even in imperfection, that you are still here, still moving, still growing. It brings humility to your wins and healing to your losses. Gratitude helps you detach from the things you can't control and focus on what you can celebrate. Some of the most grounded, peaceful, and high-performing people in the world end their day by writing down 3 things they're thankful for. This simple act shifts the brain's focus from stress and survival to meaning and joy. It's a mental cleanse that allows you to sleep lighter, deeper, and with more peace of mind. And there's something deeper, too. When you practice gratitude, you become more aware of your blessings. And awareness births appreciation, and appreciation brings fulfillment. You no longer chase happiness through achievements. You experience it through awareness. When you end your day in gratitude, you prepare yourself to begin the next one with a heart full of strength instead of scarcity. It becomes a sacred pause, a gentle reset, a way to remind yourself, even if the day wasn't perfect, it still held something beautiful. So don't wait for luck, don't wait for applause, win today, and repeat tomorrow. Because when you win each day, the week wins itself, the months follow, and soon you've built a life worth celebrating.